You know how right-wing politicians will go all out for Remembrance Sunday and Armistice Day and the poppies and stuff? Like they're the only people who care about the veterans and the world wars because they're just so patriotic, which is ironic because they're the people that say they're against virtue signaling. And they'll talk about the victories in World War II like they were the ones actually on the battlefield. And then people will point out, but wait, given your style of politics, back in the day, you probably would have been fighting on the German side of things. And then the right-wing politicians will get all upset and offended like, how dare you compare us to the Germans in the 1930s? Which is why I will never stop reminding you all that accusing right-wing politicians like the Reform Party of being on the Nazi side of history is not some left-wing smear that we've made up. It's something they've admitted to themselves. Because you see these guys here? This is Richard Tice, the deputy leader of the Reform Party, Nigel Farage, the leader of the Reform Party, and a guy called Andy Wigmore. Now back in the day, Richard Tice and Andy Wigmore led a campaign called Leave.eu, which was the other pro-Brexit campaign group that was pushing for Brexit. And Andy Wigmore was the communications director of Leave.eu, so basically in charge of their propaganda. And the audio I'm about to play for you is what Andy Wigmore said about the campaign that he ran with these guys. And the evidence I'm about to play for you is so legit, it's literally on the Parliament website.
You know, the propaganda machine of the Nazis, for instance, if you take away all the hideous horror and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
it was very clever the way they managed to do what they did. And if you in its pure marketing sense,
Yeah.
you think, oh, okay,
Yeah.
you can see the logic of
Absolutely.
what they were saying, why they were saying it, how they presented things, and the imagery,
Yeah.
everything from that.
Yeah.
I think, oh, okay, and that is propaganda. ISIS, interestingly,
12 steps or whatever it is. Yeah.
no, but and well, you know this, but I looking at that in hindsight now, being at the sharp end of this campaign, is crikey. No, this is not new,
No.
and it's using the tools that you have at the time. I think 2016 was unique. I don't think you could ever repeat it, and I don't think you could ever repeat the techniques that people had used in 2016. It was of its time.
Oh, really?
And Twitter and Facebook were of its time for political.
So that is an ally of Nigel Farage, somebody so racist that he managed to make headlines by saying I looked like Diane Abbott, admitting that the propaganda that he, Nigel Farage and Richard Tice, the two leaders of the Reform Party, the propaganda that they put out was basically a modern day version of Nazi propaganda. So when you see lefties saying things like, but your side lost the war, that should be taken as accepted fact, making this shit performative and hypocritical as hell.